Bourbon, Belts, Blockbusters. You are listening to the Triple B Podcast. Let's fucking go.
Welcome back to another episode of the Triple B Podcast, Bourbon, Belts, and Blockbusters.
I'm Tim.
I am Ryan.
And we're back with episode 9.
Heck yeah.
Episode
back
9.
in my humble abode.
Yep.
We have a absolutely ravishing cocktail of the week for us.
Oh boy, do we.
I'm very excited for this one. It is kind of a we kind of have a running theme right now with the cocktails of the week, and I didn't realize that because I believe this is our third one that we've now done.
Our third, yeah.
Because we did episode 7,
Yeah.
which was the mint julep. I think that was our first.
Yeah. And then we did the aviation.
And then we did the aviation Deadpool episode, which was the Project X cocktail. And now we have a peach bourbon smash.
Oh, we did have a forbidden.
Oh, we have a forbidden sour. That's right. So that's the one that's a little off from this, other than the bourbon, obviously.
Yeah.
But we've had. Was that the first one, or was
that was the second?
That was the second one.
Yeah.
Okay. So 3 of the 4 that we've done so far for cocktails of the week have included mint and simple syrup.
That's true.
So very simple cocktail. It is fresh peach, mint, simple syrup, and bourbon. You muddle the peaches with the mint and the simple syrup all together. You add some ice. You add 2 ounces of the bourbon. I did 3 to 4 smaller peach slices. You can do 2 to 3 larger. And then I did 2 to 3 mint sprigs, or leaves, depending on the size of the leaves. Muddle that all together. Add the ice, 2 ounces of bourbon. Shake it all together. Strain it.
It looks good, man. I'm excited.
I know. I'm stoked. We did have somebody on the last episode. I don't know if you saw that or not, but they commented on the YouTube video asking for the actual like the ingredients and the recipe of how to make the Project X cocktail.
Oh, okay.
So I responded to them on it. I told them how to do it. We will start posting that with the episodes that they drop.
Oh, perfect.
At least the YouTube episode on the in the description.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we can do that.
We can just add it. We also make a TikTok video for each cocktail of the week episode, which is the actual process of me making it. So you can find that on TikTok. On TikTok.
Get yourself some Tic Tacs, huh?
Not sponsored. But yeah, you can find that on TikTok at Trip B Pod.
Perfect.
So yeah, here we go with our
it.
cocktail of the week, the Peach Bourbon Smash.
Cheers,
brother, to episode 9 and everything we got going.
Oh.
Holy sheep shit.
Wow. Again, I mean, I hope it doesn't sound too repetitive, but
it's a summer cocktail.
It's a summer cocktail. It's fucking refreshing.
It is, man.
It's 80 plus degrees out. It's hot out, and
we're roasting in my garage yet again.
And this drink just hits right.
Yes.
It just hits.
Oh my lord.
Right.
I was curious
to
how this was gonna roll because I've had like the Jim Beam peach. I've had the Crown peach.
Mm-hmm.
Crown peach was like my dad's favorite drink for a while, and they're good.
Yeah.
But it's an artificial peach flavor.
Yeah, true.
Right. It's just an added peach flavoring. They might do something with real peaches in it, but it tastes very, very artificial to me. The peach flavor. There's really only like one thing I've ever had in my life that's peach flavored that I actually enjoy, and it's Peachios.
Oh yeah,
the peach rings. I love those things. So I was like, I don't know how this is gonna go with the actual peach.
Mm-hmm. but
holy
it
shit,
hits.
you
It
can
hits.
really taste it too. Like it's like the aftertaste is 100% just fresh peach. It's super good.
I think anyone who is not a fan of bourbon could drink on this. It doesn't stick through the drink. It's just really refreshing, honestly.
Yeah, and to bounce off of that with this too, for anyone that might not like bourbon but would be willing to give this a try, we are using the Navigator bourbon that we used on last week's episode. I think this honestly was probably the best, like the perfect bourbon to match with this.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's others that would be really good for it and whatnot. But this one's really good with it. There's certain ones that are like a little more smoky flavoring, or they're a little more like kind of fiery with a burn, which might not pair as well with a drink like this. But this one was really good with it. So, 10.
10. All right.
I'm resetting the bar.
All right.
Peach Bourbon Smash
give it 10
is my
to the
number
last
one favorite.
I'm gonna have to follow you up and give it a 10 as well. It's that good.
Yeah, that's my new favorite.
That is good.
That's really good. I'm going in
Let's
again.
go in.
Going in for another.
Drink it down. Down into my belly. Down, down, down.
Yes. God damn.
All right.
Well, get scat skiddly do.
All right.
Here we go.
We got socials and we got an update on this.
Yes,
we're
we
going to
do.
make it easy on everyone.
Yeah, and ourselves.
We updated the handle, so our Instagram, X, YouTube, TikTok are all at TripBPod now. So that's simple. At TripBPod is the handle.
The actual episodes of the podcast themselves, just the audio, is on Spotify, Apple, and Amazon, all at the Triple B Podcast, Bourbon, and Blockbusters.
And you can also shoot us an email at triplebpod619@gmail.com. Love to get your thoughts through any way possible, whether it's through socials, through the YouTube video, or our email. So
absolutely.
Love to hear from you. We got some updates to what we're doing. So you wanna give them an update?
Yeah, absolutely. So as we've been doing, those of you that have been following along with us, and we appreciate you guys following us on this journey that we've created for ourselves, which has been awesome. We've had multiple different changes to the formula of how we're doing things, when we're filming, how we're filming, all sorts of stuff. It's like almost seems like there's been like weekly we've been adding and changing stuff because it's still so new, and we're adapting as things evolve for us as well. A couple weeks back, we went to dropping episodes weekly. We essentially had been filming back-to-back episodes to try to help shorten up the episodes a little bit. But we were still only filming once every couple weeks. And then for us, just content-wise, it was getting confusing because it was like we'd be talking about 2 SmackDowns ago after we had already just watched the previous SmackDown, and then we're trying to decipher information and remember things but not say anything. So it just wasn't working all that well for us. So we decided that not only are we dropping episodes weekly, we are also now filming weekly, which means that we are kind of skipping forward past essentially 2 shows each for all wrestling shows.
Yeah, we'll kind of
we're only skipping one.
Yeah.
We're only skipping one and jumping to the most recent so that we can catch up to our content schedule, which is right now set essentially to be Friday Night SmackDown through
Dynamite.
Yeah, Dynamite on Wednesdays.
Yep.
With nothing really on Thursdays, and then the new episode of SmackDown dropping on Fridays, but we film on Fridays. So we will follow the previous Friday through the Wednesday before we film, and then that'll just kind of be our schedule. So I'm
excited about it. I think it gets more current for our fans out there. So that they're not confused as well, going, oh, well, I watched that I already know the outcome and everything. So no, I think this is going to benefit both sides. So excited.
Absolutely. So that's exciting for us, and it also allows us to be able to just I think dive a little deeper into certain things and have a little bit more conversation and not feel like we're rushed trying to get through 3 hours of content essentially in a day. We both have lives and families and stuff that we got jobs and whatnot. So hopefully it'll help just continue to make this the best possible product that we can deliver.
Absolutely.
Here it comes!
bringing us on to our belts. Let's go. So we are starting with just last SmackDown.
Yeah. So let's just kind of kick it through the matches first, and then we'll dive deeper into the segments. So we had LA Knight defeating Santos Escobar. During that match, Logan tried to interfere, but it failed. And LA Knight got the win. Logan and Santos ended up beating down on LA Knight afterwards. And then we get a backstage segment with Paul saying he is going to have a surprise for his hometown on SmackDown this tonight. So we'll see what's going on with that.
Yep. That brings us to a tag team gauntlet match to determine the number one contenders for the tag titles, which would take place at the next episode of SmackDown, which is also happening tonight.
Yep.
And lo and behold, the Bloodline wins it.
The Bloodline wins. It was almost a foregone conclusion.
There was a little bit of a rockiness before, though, for the Bloodline because of Tonga Loa's eye injury. Whenever they're playing it off to keep Tonga Loa out of action. No one's upset about it. Sorry. Was that a little too opinionated?
No.
Jacob Fatu gets added, which is what we all want anyways, is Tama and Jacob.
Yeah.
They're, I think, far and above probably the best in-ring performers of the entire Bloodline.
I would say.
Current Bloodline.
Yeah. I would definitely
Solo
say
included.
So. Yeah.
Definitely included.
Yeah.
Jacob Fatu's so damn good, but yeah, he gets added.
They're the last team to enter the gauntlet. I was like, all right. I mean, it was pretty obvious when they were added to the match.
Yeah.
But when they came out last, it was like, all right.
I think they could have made it more compelling to have had them come out first.
Yeah.
And just demolish.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
I think it would have. I think that could have added a little more to just the growing fear of Jacob Fatu, of this new bloodline of thugs. Essentially, is kind of like how they're being played.
Yeah,
which is awesome. But yeah, I think it was. I don't know. It was just like it was too easy.
Yeah.
Of writing that, like, oh yeah, we're gonna have them come out last and they're gonna win. No shit, like. You should have had them come out first and just went through the whole gauntlet of teams, but had them do it handedly.
Yeah.
And that would have been like, okay.
Yeah,
this makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. And
so
it just sucks that it came at the expense of the Street Profits, but it does make it believable because they just beat 3 other teams.
Yeah.
Had to go through 3 other teams to get to the Bloodline in the final. So that part made sense, but to your point, I wish they did come out first and just showed their dominance.
Yeah, absolutely.
That brings us to the main event, which was Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton defeating Bayley and Michin. Solid match. And what was surprising about that was Nia Jax getting the win over Bayley.
Yeah, Nia Jax pinned Bayley.
Yeah. So that was, because their match is coming up at SummerSlam. They're, going for the title. And, so that was a surprise to me that she went over Bayley.
I think it was smart, and I have been on record not the biggest Nia Jax fan, but I think it was super smart play for the company, for Nia Jax's character, and just the storyline that they've been building, where I think that it's been not just accidentally happening. I think it's been like part of kind of the story that's been building. Is Nia Jax is like almost being overlooked.
Yeah.
Because Tiffany Stratton won the Money in the Bank, and they're like focusing on who's Tiffany Stratton going to decide to face.
Very true.
But then it's like Nia's like, hey, you have to deal with me first.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm coming up. What was on this episode of SmackDown next Saturday, and so kind of a statement for her to not them just win the match, but also like for her to pin Bayley. I think it was huge.
Yeah,
and it's been in that growth. So.
And it's been fun. You kind of talked on it, but just Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton teaming up. You have one already going for the title and one who has the Money in the Bank contract. Yeah. And to play off of each other, like, hey, can't forget about me. I got the contract, but also Nia going, can't forget about I got a title shot. You know. So it's been fun to watch. Yeah. Watch that part.
For sure.
Going into the segments, we already talked about it, but Bloodline opens the show, almost gets removed from the gauntlet match because of Tongaloa's eye injury. However, he got that, but so quickly puts a kibosh to that and says we're going to put Jacob Fatu in the match.
Yes. Jacob Fatu is just... He's the best thing on SmackDown right now.
He's too good to not be in the match.
Yes, absolutely. Brought us to Jade and Bianca calling out Isla Dawn and Alba Fire to discuss the tag team match. Music hits, it kind of distracts Jade and Bianca towards the entrance ramp, expecting them to come out. Lo and behold, they get attacked from behind. But it didn't last very long because Bianca and Jade, in all of their powerful glory, obviously got the upper hand on Isla and Alba. And kind of sent them packing, got the upper hand previous to what will be titles on the line tonight.
Yeah, we got a packed show tonight. The go home show to SummerSlam
absolutely
is loaded with matches. I don't know who's gonna win that match. It just leans towards Jade and Bianca, but anything can happen, right?
And I feel like it's probably the right move. In all honesty, like they had Alba and Isla kind of the surprise hometown winners.
Yeah.
Right. But I don't feel like there's been really anything with the title reign so far. It's kind of been just kind of like,
Yeah.
They haven't defended it yet, have they?
They did on NXT, actually.
Oh, on NXT.
Just a few nights before. But it's weird. It's just like you set up all these title matches. Like we know that Bianca and Jade are feuding with them, but then they go, "Oh, you're going to defend your titles on NXT." Like, what if they lost it? Does Jade and Bianca don't have a match anymore? So it's just weird. Like they set up these matches.
Well, especially like
it's almost like going, they're not going to lose the titles because we have this match.
They need to. I almost feel like they need to make a decision on what NXT is.
Yeah.
Because to a fan like me, NXT is still like the developmental brand.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think
Where,
that's what they're going for, but then
they keep having, and it has happened multiple times now, not necessarily title matches, but they've done multiple main show title matches on NXT.
Yeah.
Where it's like a foregone conclusion that like the title's not changing hands for the most part. Yeah. Right? So it's just kind of like, why are you doing that? Like, just let NXT be what NXT is, or make NXT one of the actual fucking shows.
Yeah.
Not a developmental brand. Make it one of the main roster brands and just have 3 fucking main roster brands like AEW does.
Yeah.
I have it be an hour long.
Yeah.
Like Collision is.
Yeah.
Right?
I like the idea of main rosters going down there. It helps get eyes on NXT so that when they do come up, but not to defend titles. Because they got their own titles on.
Exactly. They have their own titles. You're not going to have the SmackDown tag team champions lose the titles on NXT.
No.
To NXT roster.
Yeah.
Right? Because that doesn't make sense.
No.
Unless then you are like the next week of SmackDown or whatever title brand it is that loses the titles, then all of a sudden they're making their main roster debut. Yeah. That would be the only way I would see it playing out. But I don't know.
Yeah.
That could be a conversation for another time, maybe.
Yeah.
Exactly. But moving on.
We go into, Tippy time. Showing upset because on the previous episode of SmackDown that we didn't record.
Fucked up the briefcase.
They really destroyed that briefcase.
They really did.
And so now we're shown her holding this briefcase all taped together, pretty upset. But Nia Jax says, hey, she's going to get her a new one.
Which we called.
Yeah.
We called, it might have been while we were just watching Money in the Bank. I don't know that we did it on the show. But after she won Money in the Bank, we were like, she's going to get it. She's going to get the briefcase bedazzled and all this stuff. So every time there's been something interesting when it's been her with the briefcase, we've been kind of like, is this going to be and then they destroyed it. So it's like, she's going to get this fucking glamorous briefcase. She even said it in the post Money in the Bank interview that she was going to give it a makeover.
Yeah, exactly.
That hasn't happened yet. So now here's the reason for it to happen. So.
Yeah, and they just allude to the match that they're going to have later in the night.
Yeah. ATD.
A-Town Down Under.
Heck yeah. They called out boxer Terrence Crawford because they blamed him essentially for being the reason that they lost the tag team titles. And yeah, they
said he shouldn't get involved in the match,
kind of
involved
go back
in their
and
business.
forth.
And then this sets up
fucking Grayson Waller,
throwing Theory under the bus again.
Yeah, like this time it
Legit.
was straight up. It wasn't even like he kind of moved out of the way and he just happened to be there. Like this, he straight up was like, "You keep that, Austin Theory's gonna knock you out." And it was like, wait, what's going on? And Austin Theory was even like, "Oh, hold on, dude, I don't wanna." And then he just turned into a fucking right hand for Terrence Crawford. And
so I mean, the more and more we see it, it looks like the seeds are planted for the split up.
This, I feel like this potentially, and it'll be interesting to see what happens tonight on SmackDown because I definitely feel like this could have potentially been the final nail.
Yeah.
For Austin Theory to like fully kind of, he's kind of been on the top teetering, and now it's like it's either going to go one way or the other, and he's shown kind of going the way leaning towards Grayson Waller, but I feel like that. Where it was just like unprompted, Grayson Waller saying that Austin Theory's going to knock this dude out for no reason, like essentially no reason, and Austin Theory being like, "Wait, what? I don't know. That's not what's going to happen," and then him getting knocked out because of it.
Yeah,
that one's a little more on the nose. So I'm very interested to see what's going to happen tonight.
And then we get a promo from Cody Rhodes over in Japan. He was reflecting on finishing the story, and that now we got a doppelganger bloodline running around, and they've taken out Randy Orton. They've taken out Kevin Owens now, and he's all on his own, but he's going to give it his all, obviously, and says he's going to come out on top. But he does challenge Solo to face him one-on-one without the rest of the bloodline on SmackDown tonight, and we'll see where that goes from there. Yeah. And then the show closing with Solo accepting Cody's challenge, saying, "Yeah, I'll meet you in the ring one-on-one." But he also alludes to Roman Reigns, and he says he's going to take care of family business all in one weekend. So
he didn't even allude to Roman Reigns. He straight up said, "If Roman Reigns, if you have a problem with that, you know where to find me," or something like that. So it's not even planting of seeds anymore. It's just straight up like he's calling out the former head of the table, if you will.
Yeah.
So said he'll meet Cody one-on-one or alone, face to face.
We know that's not.
Yeah, that's not real. That doesn't exist with the bloodline in any iteration of the bloodline. There's always a plan. There's always backup to be had. Anyways, so Raw moving to just this last Monday. Matches, we got Tozawa and Otis against the Creed Brothers. Creed Brothers win. And afterwards, Chad gets in and they start laying the beat down on Otis. There was something kind of weird about the way the match ended. Did you notice, Tozawa?
Mm-mm.
So, like, they hit Otis with, I don't even remember what the move was, but they hit Otis with the move. Tozawa, like, slid into the ring like he was going to come break it up.
Yeah.
And then he just, like, laid there and watched the pin happen.
Oh.
I don't know if my gut instinct is telling me that he slid in too early.
Yeah.
And was going to, like, make it look like he was going to go try to break it up, but then he was going to be late, but he slid in too early, and then he just, like, stalled because he was like, "Oh shit, I don't know what to do." Because he's kind of at that level where that you could see that happening.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? He's not a main Carter or anything like that.
Yeah.
But, I was just like, well, that was kind of weird because he was definitely in the ring long enough and close enough to have broken that up.
Yeah.
And he literally just like sat there and watched the pin happen, like he was tired.
Gotcha.
So anyways, so that was kind of weird to me. But anyhoozle. Gable gets up afterwards. They start beating up Otis. They, knock Tozawa back out of the ring. And then
Wyatt 6.
Wyatt 6. The lights flicker and lights go down.
Piano hits.
And the three brooding members, I guess, if you will, of the Wyatt 6 walked on down. And got up on the ring apron.
Yeah.
And they unmasked themselves for the first time.
Yeah, so we know who they are. through videos that they've done, but we'll talk about it later. But Detective Gable knows who
back
they
at
are.
it again.
But yeah, they unmask themselves, and they collide with the Creed brothers and Chad Gable.
Yeah.
Chad Gable
Gets out.
retreats and goes towards the top of the entrance.
And dude, the double team move that Gacy and
Dexter.
Dexter
Yeah.
hit was pretty fucking dope.
Yeah.
It was like the like Irish whip into a power bomb onto the opponents.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I feel like that's kind of new.
Yeah,
I
thought that was pretty cool as well.
And then Eric Rowan's so fucking big, just as goddamn
huge.
and the Creed brothers are big dudes.
Yeah, they are.
And they're not small guys, but he crossbodied both of them at the same time.
Yeah, he did.
And like fully covered that, like
took him out.
it was pretty good. Yeah, it was awesome. It was definitely like a definitive destruction.
Yeah,
if you will.
yeah, I agree. Uncle Howdy meets Gable at the top of the entrance, and Gable just goes running off to the side. But I like the slow developments of this, and we'll talk about more. But they're going to be facing off against each other later on.
Yeah.
So
I do feel like I like it, but then there's parts that I'm kind of like, okay, come on.
Yeah.
To a point.
Yeah.
I'm like, with just if they would have kept the video vignettes, the mystery going longer, then I think I'd be more on board for the current continuance of like the mystery stuff.
Yeah.
But they already kind of like played their hand of like, this is who they are.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we got Bo Dallas fully just as Bo Dallas.
Yeah.
You know, the 2 weeks previous or two weeks prior. So it just, I don't know. To me, it was just, it just kind of more like, I'm happy about what, like you said, what you alluded to, but they are going to be facing off. So I'm happy about that because I think that needs to happen. We need to now see some like in-ring stuff with the Wyatt Six.
Yeah. I think it's just trying to obviously they're not going to get added to SummerSlam. It's a pretty booked show.
Yeah.
And so they want, some excitement post SummerSlam, and so I like it. But yeah, to your point, some of it's just kind of slow burning, and
which, like I said, is it's good. It's not necessarily bad, but I'm worried that if it keeps being that way without some sort of like boiling over happening, then you're going to start definitely losing people's interest. I would be willing to bet there are fans out there that have already lost interest in it.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree with that.
So yeah, that's just like, because like I've loved everything they've done so far with it, and I'm excited for it. I want to keep it. I want to see it continue to go and grow and prosper. But it's like at some point I'm like, something's got to give. We got to have a little more here.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Hopefully that's what we're getting at.
Yeah.
Sheamus versus Bronson Reed. Pete Dunne interferes. Bronson Reed gets the win.
Uses an old shillelagh against Sheamus. But yeah, just another
shellacking, if you will.
And then we go Jay versus Carlito. We'll get into it in the segment section, but Jay wins this pretty straightforward match. Xavier Woods goes against Karrion Kross. Before that match starts, Karrion Kross says, we'll give you an out, Woods. You just need to join Final Testament. And obviously Woods rejects and have their match. Kross wins. Now, what I thought was weird about this was Alpha Academy wasn't part of it. They couple Raws ago they said they had Woods' back, and they were nowhere to be found in this match. You'd think, you got AOP on one side outside, you would have Alpha Academy on the other. So I thought that was weird.
I don't know if it had something to do with like how the show opened and Otis got beat down.
True. I guess that plays into it.
They have like, again, to your point, I don't really understand what's going on in general with that whole thing with Final Testament and Xavier Woods, and I don't think like we were trying to be patient with it and like being like, like maybe they're building to something, but it just doesn't feel like it's going anywhere. It's just like the same shit over and over, and then like you said, you get Alpha Academy saying that they have Xavier Woods' back, but then you have this match where he gets, beat down and loses.
Yeah.
Then there was no Alpha Academy out there to have his back. I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Weird. I mean, I'm still curious to see how it plays out.
Because now it's one of those things where you're like, I can't look away.
Yeah, you've
given
us too much TV time.
Yeah, it's not great, but now we're kind of invested.
Yeah,
and so it's like I at least need closure on the situation before I can happily be over it.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah. That leads us to Sammy versus Dom, which again we'll get into more of the backstory here as to why this match is going on in a few. But match ends in disqualification because JD and Carlito interfere. Jay comes out to help Sammy because they've kind of rekindled their brothership. And then Braun comes out and attacks Sammy from behind, but Sammy actually gets the upper hand.
Yeah.
On the final show before their rematch at SummerSlam. We had Lyra, Kaden, and Katana against the
Sonya trio. I don't know what to call them.
Yeah, I don't know what.
But
they haven't given us an actual faction name for the new three.
Seems to be like she's the leader of the group, so that's why I call it the
Sonya
trio.
Shayna, and Zoe.
Yeah.
The Sonya trio wins,
but Damage Control comes out and takes out Sonya's group. So you got one dominant group getting taken out by another dominant group. So I like that it's kind of veering away from this Lyra, Kaden, and Katana thing because that was also taking its sweet time going on. So I like that it's going a new direction.
And Damage Control is awesome.
Yeah,
and they've always been really good in the ring, and honestly, some of the best female performers in wrestling, honestly. Yeah, so that'll be good. I think that'll be a good little building of a feud that we'll hopefully get to see some more of.
And then they quickly cut a promo shortly afterwards in the back saying Damage Control runs Raw still, and they set up a match between Dakota Kai and Sonya Deville for the following round. And then that brings us to the main event, Gunther versus Finn. I personally love these two wrestlers. I think this was not the right time to do them, but I get why they did it. I want Finn Balor to go off on his own. He's honestly one of my favorite wrestlers, and I think this match could have had more to it than a main event on Raw, but nonetheless, it was still a good match, but Gunther wins. And then post-match, Gunther gets Finn Balor into a sleeper, and this draws out Damian Priest on the go-home show. Damian Priest gets the upper hand, battling Gunther into the crowd, taking him out. So
interesting to me because beforehand, and again, we'll kind of get into it. Actually, let's just jump to it because we talk about it. For segments on Raw, the show started with Seth Rollins once again. His music hitting to open a show is
perfect.
It's a great fucking way to open any show. It's just Seth Rollins music hitting.
It's Monday Night Rollins, baby.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
But he comes out to just address the fact that he is going to be the special guest referee. He is dressed in his fucking outfits. Are just absolutely wild, but they're him.
Yep.
But yeah, he's wearing a referee outfit, if that's what you want to call it. He's got poofy shoulders and frills and stuff.
But he got the stripes.
Got the stripes. It's black and white. Still rocking the zebra. But yeah, essentially explaining that he's in charge of this match, right?
Yeah.
He calls out CM Punk and Drew McIntyre to get their asses out there. Reminds them that if they touch each other, the match is off. If they touch him, the match is off. And kind of just asserting his kind of newfound power in the situation over the two of them.
Yeah, and they explain that he got added as a referee because the other referees are afraid to
be involved in
officiating the match. So that's why he's in this part.
He knew how important it was to the fans to see these two be able to get their hands on each other.
Yeah.
So he, that's kind of playing that Batman-esque role, right?
Yeah. Punk and Drew spar on the mic, the typical, we're going to beat the living hell out of each other at SummerSlam. Punk says Drew is his own worst enemy, and I can't disagree with him.
Hard to dispute that.
I think his exact quote was, "You dumb your way out of everything. You dumbed your way out of 2 title shots and all that." So I can't disagree. And then Drew pulls out the bracelet that he stole from CM Punk that has Larry and AJ name on the bracelet. So
I love how you remember the dogs, man, but you forgot his wife, who used to be a fucking WWE superstar.
Yeah.
But you remember the dog who you've never seen before.
That's typical for our show, right?
It's true.
We're going to forget.
We have a hard time remembering names of things for people who are nerds of this stuff.
But it gets personal pretty quickly. Get in their face, but don't touch. So match is still on. No one's suspended.
Yeah.
And then
we got some Judgment Day drama as per usual on Raw.
Of course.
The kind of as we've gotten almost every week, we get some form of promo segment in backstage in kind of their locker room clubhouse area. Yeah. And it was destroyed.
Yeah.
And it was, kind of a foregone conclusion that it was.
And Dom's like, "Who did this?" And Rhea's like, "Well, duh."
Yeah,
duh, it was Liv.
Are you fucking kidding me? So,
Carlito's in the back, upset about the PS5.
Yeah.
Are we going to get a new one?
Because, every week that's what they've been doing.
They've
been playing 2K. Carlito ends up getting sent, Rhea demands Carlito to go get a match with Sami Zayn. And Carlito does that, but he gets he was confused, and he asked for the match to be Sami Zayn versus Dom.
Yeah.
So that's where we got the Sami Zayn versus Dom Mysterio match. This then led to Rhea being like, "Okay,
but then you're going to take care of Jey.
You need to take care of Jey Uso on your own, alone. There's no, you have no backup. You need to just go do this."
Yeah.
So that's how we got that match as well. There was also a video package of Liv Morgan.
Super upset.
Got the classic mascara bleed of, crying face going down, which fits her so well.
It does.
Really, it's ooh, that, she is believably upset, but also psychotic at the same time. And you can see it in her eyes, and she plays it so well. She's such a good character. But she's burning everything that has to do with Dom, upset, and then kind of just turns it and says that, she's essentially gonna end Rhea Ripley's revenge tour at SummerSlam. She's gonna win.
And later we get a Rhea promo saying, basically the same thing. She's going to be more brutal than she's ever been, and she's going to end the tour herself, the revenge tour herself. And then that just kind of leads to a segment. I think you were kind of alluding to it earlier, but Judgment Day says they're going to take care of the rest of their problems, meaning I think, Sami Zayn, Jey Uso, and then their inner drama going on at post SummerSlam. But you got Finn Balor saying, "I want to do it on my own," face Gunther all alone.
Yeah, and so that's what I was getting at was it's interesting to me because I feel like they keep planting these seeds for, between Balor and Priest, for there to eventually be some form of fallout between them, and will be shocked if it doesn't lead to a match between the two with the breakup of the Judgment Day and stuff like that. Because him saying he wants to do this all on his own, he doesn't need anything, and then for him to be unconscious in the ring at the end and Priest come out to save him, I'm wondering if how many times Priest has said he needs to do it on his own, and Balor has gotten involved, and then Balor says he wants to do it on his own, and then Priest comes out, even though it was Balor was unconscious in the ring, completely manhandled. Feel like there's still going to be some form of, strife or whatever between the two about that. moving forward at some point. Like, could that end up leading to the potential for that to be maybe a reason Priest loses a title, and then now there's bad blood between those two?
I mean, it's kind of crazy. They're doing a really good job planting seeds all around, because right now it looks, like in the back of my mind, I still feel like Dom is going to betray Rhea.
I know. I 100%.
But I think like that might be the swerve where he doesn't, and then maybe it is Finn who's.
Yeah, I know, right? There's been the Judgment Day drama is like it's like fucking classic, like mid 2000s soap opera.
Yeah, really.
It's like Days of Our Lives,
But they're not playing their hand
all
at
my
all.
children.
Like I usually feel like I got a pretty good radar on how things are going to play out. I don't know how this one is going to play out. And then we just got Carlito in the background.
Yeah.
But then we go into Braun saying, he didn't take Sammy seriously at Money in the Bank. He took him as a joke, thought he was going to steamroll him. He says he's not going to make that mistake again. Sami Zayn retorts in his promo later on in the night saying, he got a different attitude towards this match as well. Yes. And that he's going to be ready for Braun, and says he's coming out on top. So
we got Miz backstage announcing that he's hosting SummerSlam in his hometown of Cleveland, Ohio.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
I hope that leads to more R-Truth and Miz banter.
Yeah, me too. It's going to eventually lead to the Miz turning on R-Truth and becoming a face again. A heel again. He can't be a face for too long.
Yeah.
It grows tired. It really does. He's one of the best heels ever in the damn industry. So he I'll be on the lookout for that. Got another Wyatt 6 video, this time focused on Dexter Loomis.
It was a creepy video.
It was very creepy.
I think this was the creepiest video. Yeah. And I just really liked,
because this one was straight up just eerie.
Yeah, it didn't give us a lot of info.
No. It wasn't as like personal as the previous ones with Bo and Rowan. This one was just creepy.
Yeah. And I like the quote that, it ends with. It says, "What should they do when the buzzards come circling? You run."
You run.
That was a sick closeout to the video.
Made my butthole pucker. So we get the Detective Gable, like we said earlier, back at it again, confronts Adam Pearce, says, "I know who the rest of the Wyatt Six are. Dexter Loomis, Joe Gacy, and Eric Rowan." And Adam Pearce literally goes, "Yeah, I know. They're under contract." Which was fucking pretty. I'm happy that they alluded to the fact that you're an idiot. We get it, because I'm that's kind of the play into it, which I love that.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
I know that there's a lot of, for better or worse, a lot of comparisons with Chad Gable and Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
But he is today's Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
Like 100%, he is today's Gen era's Kurt Angle. It's, very similar backstories before getting into the WWE.
Yeah. Kind of this dumb idiot backstage.
I mean, I could picture him actually dressing up as a detective to find these things out, and all I'm thinking when I picture that is Kurt Angle in the little cowboy hat. It's that same type of vibe.
That's really what popped into my head.
That's what I'm thinking of. So it's and this is in no way, shape, or form a negative or bad thing on Chad Gable. If anything, I think that should be a compliment. You should be taken, because that means you're doing good shit on this show.
And I have to give him props. I mean, they gave him some idiotic name. He went through a lot of it after his partner got injured and he went solo. He got a weird name. Shorty G. Shorty G was the name. It was what he was given. He got through that.
I don't even remember that.
Yeah, he's been through the ringer, and so him being able to shine in this kind of Kurt Angle role, I think it's just a testament to him sticking it out and
Yeah.
actually getting to shine now. So
Yeah.
it's been
For
awesome.
Sure. Yeah, it has.
But he challenges the Wyatt Six to a match on Raw, so we get that 3-on-3 next week. So excited to see the in-ring debut of the Wyatt Six.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. We ended with a Gunther promo.
Yeah. He's just
goddamn, man.
He's laying into Damian Priest, saying he's an emotional wannabe who's weak, and then he goes on to talk about his opponent for the night, Finn Balor, saying you used to be the greatest, you could have been great, but then you surrounded yourself by these idiots. And
he also alludes to, not even alludes to, but he just straight up like gives respect to Seth Rollins' run as World Heavyweight Champion. And how he like brought honor to the championship and all that, which was interesting in and of itself for him to like acknowledge that respect. Because Gunther isn't really one that you would expect to do that, especially in this current like he is the heel against the Judgment Day, which is kind of weird to think of, but he is the heel here.
Yeah, true.
And then how he pretty much just outright says how Priest is essentially dishonoring it. He's not a good World Heavyweight Champion, and that he's going to save the World Heavyweight title.
Yeah, I think that just adds a little more oomph to the feud, and definitely will get Damian Priest heated. So
yes,
I mean
all sorts of personal between these two.
The match should be solid, I think, in my opinion. Gunther is just a hard hitter.
Yeah.
We got Damian Priest who can just go toe-to-toe with anyone.
Priest, in my opinion, has just gotten better and better and better and better each week that we have done this show.
Yeah.
Each time I'm like, okay, I'm more on board with Damian Priest being in like the main event picture than I was originally.
Do we want to get into SummerSlam predictions? I know pretty much tonight SmackDown will be a go-home show of just rehashing what's already been set up. So
pretty much.
So you want to go into SummerSlam predictions?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Let's start with the match we were just talking about, Gunther, Damian Priest. Who do you see coming out on top?
So I kind of saved this because of this, what we were talking about earlier. I kind of just knew we were going to do this now, so I was like, okay, I'm going to wait. I'm curious to see if Balor gets involved and costs Priest the title.
Yeah.
I really do feel like, and I feel like they've been doing a really good job of setting it up so that you don't really know who's going to win. Because they've painted Priest, in good light. They've painted Gunther in good light. Don't really know there, but I feel like as we're getting closer and with the Finn Balor stuff, I feel like I will actually be kind of surprised if Damian Priest walks out champion still. I think that would be a good way then for them to be able to set up Gunther's next opponent, like whatever that might be, and then move kind of on with Damian Priest into a Finn Balor Damian Priest thing.
Yeah.
With the potential implosion of we could be a day away from watching the implosion of the Judgment Day.
Yeah.
Because of what another one of my predictions is going to be. So
gotcha. I'm hoping. I'm a big fan of Gunther, and I hope he does win. I think you're right. I think you're onto something is going to cost Damian the match, and it's probably going to be Finn Balor. So I think we both agree Gunther on that one.
Let's stay in the vein of Judgment Day.
All right.
Let's go to the women's world title.
Okay.
Rhea versus Liv. What do you think?
I think Liv retains. I don't think Mommy gets the title back. And again, I want to say Dom is gonna betray Rhea. And I think it happens.
That's my exact thing. That's why I said it's going to get to what we're going to talk about in a second. I 100%. I think Dom is going to betray Rhea and cost her the title, and that portion of the show is going to close with Dom and Liv kissing.
Yeah.
At like the top of the ramp.
Yeah.
Or something like that, right? To just like rub it that much farther into Rhea's face.
Or how crazy would it be if that happened, but then Liv turns on Dom? So Dom's already betrayed Rhea. Rhea's not gonna forgive him at that point, and then
Liv
and then Liv like goes, I've completed the revenge. I've ruined everything.
And then just punt kicks Dom in the sack.
Yeah. That would be, I mean, if she's gonna end the revenge tour,
so
maybe they wait a little on that.
Yeah, maybe. I think that would be good. I think that would be awesome. But at the same time, I really love the chemistry between Dom and Liv and Rhea.
Yeah.
So I would love for it to be Liv and Dom end up together, and then that's like a continued storyline.
Yeah.
Building.
I see it. I see that.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. And just sticking with Raw, we got Sami Zayn versus Braun Breaker.
Man, this one's tough for me because
I mean, me personally, you got to look at the bigger picture of what's on the horizon and what's already being set up. You got Sami pairing up with Jay. So I see a tag team title run coming soon, probably.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm with you, and I think I know why it's tough, because the last episode we just talked about how Sami is crushing it as Intercontinental Champion and bringing it to its early glory days, but I think this is the time Braun does go over. I mean, he's too good right now. You don't want to ruin the momentum of Braun Breaker, and so I think this is where he goes over him.
I know there's multiple layers here to this for me, because I don't know. I feel like if you were gonna have Braun win it, you should have fucking just done it in the first match at Money in the Bank.
Mm-hmm.
So then it wasn't questionable. It wasn't, it was just a definitive. He won. It wasn't he lost to a single haluva kick.
Yeah.
And then he has now spent the last 3 weeks destroying Raw, and then you have him win. I don't know. There's just something weird to that for me. I don't care for that. I wish they would have gone about it differently and better, in my opinion. If that is the outcome that we get, if we get Braun winning. Also, the tag team thing that you just talked about with them. If Sami loses the IC, he needs to be in the main event, main title card picture.
Yeah.
In my opinion, he's just been so damn good.
Yeah.
That it would, I would almost see like losing the IC and going on a tag title run almost as a demotion to a point.
Yeah.
Which shouldn't necessarily, because the tag titles are just as important as the IC.
Yeah.
But the trajectory, I feel like maybe not a demotion, but it would be like he's climbing, and then it's gonna plateau.
Kind of like Gunther
at the tag team title,
and now he's in the title shot.
Yeah, right. So that's. I feel like if Sami loses it, it needs to be because they're now going to push Sami back for a world title. Sami versus Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship would be a fucking solid match again.
Yes,
they already have history, so that'd be good. But
I agree with you, but we've also talked about how we think there's a impending bloodline civil war coming, and they've already planting that seed of Jay and Sami reconciling.
True. Yeah,
and that's just part of the steps to get Usos back together. You can get them the original bloodline back.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree with you too,
regardless of what does happen, Sami needs a title shot in the future.
Yeah. For sure.
Sometime in the next, like by this time next year, when we're doing the episode, when we're doing our Triple B episode right before SummerSlam next year, Sami needs to have either already had or be in the midst of a main title shot.
Yeah.
Hat needs to, because he has definitely proven his abilities and himself to be able to be that guy and be able to hold it down on the show. I mean, they ended Raw last week or 2 weeks ago with the IC because Sami Zayn's in it.
Yeah,
he's main eventing Raw with the IC because that's what he has done to the IC.
True.
So I don't know. I don't know who's going to win that match. I really don't. I thought Braun was going to win it at Money in the Bank. He obviously didn't. I'm afraid to even take a guess here. And because there's so many different outcomes as to what could happen afterward that we just talked about. So I'm like, I don't even know. I don't know. I'll disagree with you. Braun's going to win.
All right. There we go. And I think that brings us to the SmackDown side of matches, right?
Yeah.
Nia versus Bayley. Who do you think wins that one? I can't tell you what I'm thinking because I don't know.
I would absolutely love to. I'm all about betrayal right now.
Yeah.
I would love to see Nia win it and then Tiffany cash in and take the title from her.
After, I bet you Nia gives her a new briefcase either on SmackDown tonight or at SummerSlam.
And uses
that
to cash. That would be poetic.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would love to see that. I hope that's what happens. That's my prediction.
Gotcha. I mean, I love Bayley. I don't think this has been the greatest title run, and so I think they need a change.
I was just about to say that.
Change it up, and it's not a knock against Bayley. She's a phenomenal wrestler.
It just hasn't been booked well. Her title run hasn't been written well or anything. So they need to.
I think it's a time for a change. So Nia wins, and I hope Tiffany cashes in.
Because I will tell you one thing, 100% for sure. I do not want to see a fucking Nia Jax title run.
Yeah,
I want to see it be a title step, like a title wobbly 1-year-old taking their first step and falling type of. That's the type of title run I want it to be. I want it to be very short, fucking lived. Anyways, what's the next SmackDown one that we got? The United States Championship. LA Knight's fucking winning.
He's got to win.
That's it.
It's gotta happen.
That's got to be the end of it.
I think that this puts an end to Logan's reign, and again, I need something changed. And Logan or LA Knight is the guy to do it.
Logan Knight has done a badass job of being the U.S. champion, and being a notorious U.S. champion at this point, right? Like known for cheating his way out of things, known for just being kind of sleazy, like you're not actually a part of the company kind of role that he's played, but he's also like come in and done it better than most of the people in the company, you know what I mean? So like there's that whole heat side to it. He's done it really well, but LA Knight needs fucking gold around that motherfucker's waist. And this is the time for that.
He's got the hype behind him. I think you're right. I think LA Knight does it, which leads us to Cody Rhodes versus Solo. For that championship match, and I don't think Cody loses the title. I don't, but I think we get a returning Roman.
There's so many things that could happen here.
I mean, it would make sense to give Solo the title.
Here's the thing.
But
here's the thing. I don't think Cody drops the title.
No, I don't.
I don't think Cody drops the title, and I especially don't think Cody drops the title to Solo.
Mm-hmm.
So however it plays out, Cody retains. That's how I see it happening.
Yeah.
I think Orton and potentially KO, maybe, I don't know. Maybe they return and they help kind of even the odds.
Yeah.
I do think we get a returning Roman.
Okay.
Which then concludes the Cody versus the Bloodline.
Yeah, he gets out of the bloodline.
I think he gets out of the bloodline. Which brings me to my biggest prediction. I think Orton turns heel. I think Orton turns heel. I think Orton RKs Cody after the match is over.
I could see that. I definitely could see that because what we talked about on last episode, there's so many tiny little
seeds been planted for this exact thing. And if either of the two are turning heel, it ain't fucking Cody.
Yeah. No.
Because Orton can turn heel. Orton can turn heel and still have just as big of a fan base.
Yeah.
It wouldn't work for Cody.
Yeah.
It wouldn't work the other way around. So Cody needs to be that baby face. Orton needs to be that heel. I think we get a conclusion to the Cody bloodline story with Roman returning and setting up now what is going to be that bloodline civil war that we talked about, which would probably happen at War Games.
Yeah. I could see that, or part chapter 1 of it at least.
Yeah, chapter 1 of it for sure. And then I hope that we get Orton turning on Cody and setting up Cody versus Orton now.
Is there too much going on? Is it too early to say The Rock gets involved somehow?
tomorrow at SummerSlam.
I mean, it's the biggest party of the summer.
It's the biggest party of the summer. It would make sense.
It's when big things go down, but it might be too early.
It would make sense timeline-wise, like in the sense of what you just said, like the biggest party of the summer.
Yeah.
It's the biggest PLE until Royal Rumble.
Till Survivor Series. I guess
Survivor Series is, yeah.
It's part of the Big Four.
That's the Big Four, yeah. So, yeah, till Survivor Series. I don't think it makes sense storyline-wise right now.
And you don't want to overshadow Roman coming back.
I think you need Roman's return first, and then you need The Rock.
Okay.
And at some point in when that happens, if we get that, but we fucking better, that has to be setting up Roman versus The Rock at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Which means that The Rock, which we've talked about on here before too, The Rock is the real head of the table for the new bloodline potentially.
Setting this all up.
He's the puppet master.
Yeah.
But that also means if that happens before Survivor Series, the new bloodline then has 5.
Yeah.
So
if they
who's our 5th? Because we talk about the original bloodline getting back together, Jimmy J and Roman.
Yeah.
Then you have potentially Sami Zayn as the honorary Uce. Yeah. All mending fences there. Still only 4. Who's the 5th, motherfucker? Who could it be?
We don't know, but
I did hear that. I did just read the other day that Zilla Fatu got gold around his waist for the first time.
All right.
In whatever independent developmental circuit he's on.
All right.
So, I don't know.
That could round it out.
That could be, or we could get fucking Rikishi. Who fucking knows?
Who knows? Yeah.
Wouldn't that be cool?
All right. So I think that ends our SummerSlam predictions.
Yeah.
I think that's solid thoughts. Which brings us over to AEW.
Yeah.
Dustin Rhodes and the Von Erich boys.
Let's go!
Are facing off for the 6-man Ring of Honor titles. They win.
Yeah.
And it was in Texas, so it was just it was a cool ending because Dustin Rhodes has a lot of history, or Dusty Rhodes had a lot of history with the Von Erichs, and so their family goes way back, and so it was really cool to see Dusty and the Von Erich boys win the titles. Dustin. Yes.
You're getting the father and son confused, Timmy.
And then we go over to Dynamite.
Hell to the yeah.
Yeah. MJF opens the show. He's all decked out in red, white, and blue because on previous Dynamite, he throws away the international title and names it the American Championship. So
there was an odd correlation, maybe.
If
that's the right word. If MJF would have dyed his hair blonde, he would have looked like Cody fucking Rhodes.
Oh, for sure.
For sure. What are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing, AEW?
Yeah.
Come on now. You lost Cody. Cody's not coming back. You can't just replace him with
MJF.
Maxwell Jacob Rhodes. So, So yeah, that was interesting.
Calls himself an American hero. Ospreay comes out.
Calls himself an American hero after absolutely dog shitting on fucking South Carolina.
Yeah. Ospreay goes off saying he's going to restore the prestige to the titles, bring it back to being the international championship. It kind of didn't fit because, South Carolina is a very patriotic state, and you're not going to have the crowd booing the American.
I know. And
they even started chanting USA.
Yeah, they started chanting USA, which then Ospreay did. I think he did a good job of taking that and crowd working it to help play into what he was trying to get at. But it was like, yeah, you guys gotta read the room. Goddamn well you're not gonna get South Carolina to start chanting for London.
Yes, exactly.
But
no, to your point, Ospreay did a really good job bringing her around and
not letting that throw them off and kind of ruin the segment.
That leads up to Ospreay facing it off against Lance Archer.
That was a great match.
Great match. I'm bummed for Lance Archer because I had some notes on it. It looked like they were building Lance Archer back up. He's He's a great wrestler.
He
dude.
is. He really is.
He's a big dude who can do a lot of things that a big guy can't do.
Yeah.
But then he gets to this point and then just falls back down. But it was a great match. Ospreay wins it.
Yeah.
MJF comes down and attacks afterwards, of course. Why wouldn't he? But
Kyle Fletcher comes out and saves the day.
Yeah, which was kind of crazy because he's part of the Don Callis family who Ospreay asked to leave, and he alluded to that and saying, hey, he's my brother, he's my best friend. I have to come out and save him. Kyle Fletcher challenges MJF to a match on the next Dynamite, which is going to be an awesome match because Kyle Fletcher is just like a mini Ospreay almost. So it's going to be an epic match. Chris Statlander goes against Willow. They got a long feud going on, and this was an Eliminator title match. So if Chris Statlander wins, she gets a shot at Willow's CMLL Women's Championship, and she does get the win, so that sets up what I assume be at Grand Slam.
Bryan Danielson.
Damn, what a promo.
Yeah.
Really
emotional promo, very personal, very just straightforward. Like that's how he's always been.
Yeah.
Too. He's like hard on the sleeve type guy. He does not sugarcoat shit for the fans. Like, he's just very true to who he is as an individual. So it was really cool. Just alluding to the fact that his full-time career is winding down, coming to a close. He had had promised his daughter that once she was 7 years old, he would stop wrestling full time. Had promised his family that the last contract he had signed with AEW would be his last full time contract, and that contract expired yesterday, which was the day after Dynamite, and was just pretty much. And he even straight up said that this title shot would be his last title shot, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's like his last chance to win the AEW World Title.
Yeah.
So,
and I mean, this was set up the previous week by another great promo. Jeff Jarrett called him out. Like, he was just in the back Danielson was getting interviewed by Renee Paquette, and he was nonchalant about it. He's like, "Oh yeah, my neck is beat to shit, and I don't know how much I got left in me." And treating the match at All In against Swerve as kind of not a big deal. And then Jeff Jarrett's like, "What the hell, man? You got to be all in. There's plenty of guys that want to be in your spot. You need to get your mind right." And I think that's what set up this promo. And
for sure.
he's all in.
Having Jeff Jarrett get at you and light a fire under your ass that's a hell of a guy to have do that.
Yeah,
his legacy in this business is,
for sure
top. So,
and then Swerve comes down, doesn't let Danielson just wrap up this promo. He basically comes out, says he's not going to lose this title. He's worked too damn hard. He's going to make sure Danielson doesn't walk out of All In, which then gets Danielson to say, "I'm going to put my career on the line. If I lose at All In, that's it."
Yep.
So we got a career
title
versus career.
Let's go.
Really excited for that match. It's gonna be so good.
Washingtonians going at it in London.
I know they get to be on the main stage.
That's fucking
Washington representing.
Let's go.
Then we get the Acclaim calling out FTR for Collision this week. I think this could potentially set up a number one contendership against the Young Bucks at All In. Maybe being a three-way tag match at All In. I would love to see those three guys go at it.
Yeah. That'd be a hell of a match for sure.
That leads us to our main event.
Yeah.
Which was
Darby Allin versus Hangman Page.
Yeah, and what a match that was.
There were some fucking spots in that match that it just makes you... Darby Allin, what the fuck, man? What are you doing?
Do you care at all about your body?
I know. It's mind-blowing just how much... He's a fucking stuntman.
Yeah.
Like, that's essentially what he is.
What he reminds me of is, that...
Fucking Spike Dudley.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
But, like, better.
I was gonna say it's like
because he's taken seriously, but he takes all the same fucking crazy bumps.
it's like wrestling that AI dummy in WWE 2K games, you know, where you just do moves to.
Yeah.
That's basically what Darby is. You can do
man.
whatever you want to him. He was diving off the entranceway. He took this
Did a fucking coffin drop off the entrance.
Yeah.
The top of the entranceway. Like, the coffin drop is such a scary move because he's literally just trust falling.
Yeah.
Onto somebody from fucking 15
And he
20
does not,
feet in the air.
He does not brace himself.
No, not at all.
Coffin drops.
Just fucking, oh, here we go. I hope you catch me because if not, this is going to fucking hurt.
Yeah.
And even if it does hurt, I'm going to get up and keep going anyways, and then I'm going to take a fucking fall away slam onto the steel steps.
I had to rewind it over, and I cringed. I was just
I'm having a harder and harder time watching the stair shots with Darby Allin. After fucking his and Christian's spot.
Oh, God, yeah.
Jesus, fuck. And then this one, I'm just like, what else are you gonna do, man? Are you gonna take a fucking power bomb on the steel steps, like
on the corner? Like I don't know. It just
God damn.
It was a crazy match. Darby got the living crap beat out of him the whole match, and then sneaks in the win at the end.
Fucking schoolboy roll up, dude.
So I mean, so he gets a big win over Adam Page, and he's got a title shot for the TNT Championship and for the World Heavy. He got 2 big title matches coming up. Yeah. He could be a double champion when all things are said and done. Yep. Don't think that happens, but it could. And that wraps up our AEW section.
Yeah. Brings us to our Banger of the Week.
What is your Banger of the Week, buddy?
Dude, mine's Ospreay versus Lance Archer.
It was a sick match.
It was an awesome match. And one that was like kind of like an impromptu match, right? Like MJF's the one that set that match up, right? Like in the beginning. So, but it was just so good. Some of the fucking shots that Ospreay was taking, the fucking choke slam to like open the match, was one of the best choke slams I've ever seen.
Yes,
before,
it was
from both people. Like it was so good. And then he hit him with a second one later. Yeah. Hit him with the fucking Spanish fly off the top rope. Ospreay hit Archer with it. Which is, I love that move. Yeah. I loved when, was it Brian Kendrick?
Yeah, Brian Kendrick.
Hit the walk the plank. That was such a fucking awesome move.
Yeah. Or Paul Burchill. He did
Paul Burchill did the walk the plank,
yeah. But I think Brian Kendrick has done the move before, yeah.
But anyways, so... Yeah, it was just. I don't know. There were a lot of really cool spots in the match. Will Ospreay is so good.
He is so good, and watching him just is why I wanted to backyard wrestle. Why I wanted just watching him go is like what kind of got me into it. Just how good he is. So
What about you?
I got LA Knight just in general. Like I'm on the hype train again. I'm excited to see him hopefully get the gold. We haven't even got to the go home show where I'm sure he'll have a fire promo tonight. But I'm just excited for him, and I hope this is the time he gets gold around his waist. I think it's time. Yeah. I love it. Bell's question of the week. I just drooled. You posed this question. Yeah. So I'll let you take it. So WWE has seemed to be getting edgier and blurring that line in the PG rating, and I just wanted to see what your take is on that, and have you noticed that?
100%, yeah. I think it's awesome. I mean, we've talked about it before. How it just feels like the tone of WWE is. We're never going to get back to the Attitude Era and the antics of the Attitude Era, because it was like at a time in life where a lot of shit that probably shouldn't have happened was allowed to happen just because that was like the time that we were in. Yeah. But with today's like climate and societal, do's and don'ts type of thing. Yeah. It feels like we're pushing more back towards that era. Yeah. And so, I 100% have noticed it, and I'm not surprised by it at all with the eventual move, or the soon coming move to Netflix for Raw specifically. Yeah. I won't, I'm not going to be surprised if it goes even more and more, because on Netflix, Raw, like there's not going to be a rating. I mean, there's going to be a rating, but there's not going to be like it's not going to be.
You don't got the cable constraints.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's going to be
constraints. So.
I mean, look at AEW. Yeah. Like there's no filter.
None.
Right, and that is on cable.
Yeah.
But so like now Netflix, like WWE has the potential to really blow the roof off this thing with that. So I like that they're kind of going, and I feel like you first saw it start to take place when The Rock came back.
Yeah,
because he's the one that's like, I don't give a shit. I'm going to say whatever the hell I want to say, right? Because like, what the fuck? What are they going to do?
And he's on the board of TKO.
And now he's on the board of TKO, yeah. So, but I mean, even before when he would come back, he would still say whatever the fuck he wanted to say. Like, no one's telling Dwayne Johnson what the fuck he can and cannot say on TV. So, but yeah, so I feel like they've been pushing towards it, definitely, for sure.
I think it's just been refreshing. I think it just, like, we've talked about how good WWE has been.
It's good for the company. It's good
and I think it just, it gets older fans back into it, but I think they're doing it tastefully. Like, they've added blood back into it, but they do it, they're not just bleeding, they're not just bleeding everywhere. It's
like, they're not Ric Flairing
it. It was like Drew bashing CM Punk's head into the steel garage door and bleed. That was meaningful. That was like
The Rock attacking Cody.
Yeah, that was
outside.
Meaningful. So I think it's definitely been refreshing. It's been great for WWE's product. So excited to see that continue, and it adds more to the like promos they can use. Hey, you're a bitch, and just kind of blur that line. So it's been really nice.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah.
And here we go.
That brings us to Blockbusters! Hell yeah. Got a lot to cover here. We had Comic-Con last weekend. And the biggest panel, like in general, that everyone like expects and anticipates at San Diego Comic-Con Hall H is Marvel. So that's the biggest thing that we got. We're going to talk about that in detail as to just kind of what was the news that we got, which was
we got a lot of
goddamn news. And then there's another show I want to talk about that also had some news come out. Marvel.
Yeah, Marvel had a big day.
Yes. So first things first, they talked about their 3 upcoming movies.
Yeah.
The 3 movies that are coming out in 2025. And the first one they started with was Captain America: Brave New World. It's Captain America 4. It's Anthony Mackie's first solo movie as Captain America, taking over obviously for Chris Evans, Steve Rogers. So we got Sam Wilson, Anthony Mackie, Sam Wilson. What the information that we were given from this portion of the panel was essentially that the feel of the movie is apparently going to be more of like a grounded action movie.
Kind of like Winter Soldier.
Right? So it's going to have that Winter Soldier-esque kind of vibe to it, which I think is awesome.
I love that.
Because Winter Soldier was, I think it was the best Captain America movie, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I liked that one. I mean, Civil War was Avengers mini. Right?
Yeah.
Like, it was a mini Avengers movie.
I agree.
So, like, out of the 2 actual solo Captain America movies, Winter Soldier, I think beats
the first Avenger.
Yeah, first Avenger,
Yeah.
That's cool. I'm excited for that. It was a cool vibe to a movie, so I feel like that was a good way for them to go. Kind of take it, kind of downscale it from some of the other shit that we've had, right?
Yeah.
The Marvels is such a cosmic, just cinematic piece.
And then we just got a lot of, timelines going on.
Yeah,
we got Doctor Strange,
the
Eternals,
Spider-Man No Way Home,
Shang-Chi.
Yeah, like there are so many different things. So to have that more kind of grounded action movie feel, I think will be awesome.
I think it's welcomed at this time too.
Yes, yes, absolutely. We got a pretty big announcement, something that we talked about multiple times on here.
Giancarlo Esposito. We were debating who he was going to play.
We had our own takes on it, and we were wrong all around. Everybody was wrong.
Yeah.
Giancarlo Esposito had actually gone on record saying that no one has correctly guessed who he was playing prior to the announcement made on stage, Hall H, San Diego Comic-Con 2024.
Yep, and he announced that he's playing Sidewinder, the King of the Serpent Society.
Yes.
Which I think that's great.
Yeah, I think it's awesome to bring in to live action just another villain that I don't think is well known by people that don't read the comics. Right?
Yeah,
like I mean, you don't have to read the comics to know who Doctor Doom is or to know who Thanos is.
Yeah,
Loki, like any of them, the kind of bigger known bads, even Galactus and I'm gonna fucking Magneto.
Yeah.
So for them to bring in another villain that is gonna be so badass,
yes,
I'm very excited for it, and for it to be Giancarlo Esposito.
Yes.
He's such an awesome actor, and we've talked about that before. So I'm really excited. When he said that, I was like, what the fuck? And then I went and then I did a little more research into who Sidewinder is and just stuff like that, just so I can get a little bit deeper knowledge on it also.
Yeah.
But yeah, so at Comic-Con they did show footage. No fan base outside of anybody outside of who was at the actual panel hasn't seen the footage.
Yeah.
But I the source I was getting all my information about Comic-Con on was doing kind of like play-by-play updates, and so we still got information about what was shown, even though we haven't actually seen it. So what was shown, kind of sum it up, we got General Ross, Thaddeus E. Thunderbolt Ross, now being played by Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford introduces Adamantium to the MCU, which is the first time outside of Deadpool and Wolverine that you actually hear it referenced. And the thing that I like the most about this is it is finally an acknowledgement of what happened at the end of Eternals in the greater MCU. Like, I think one time in something else, I want to say it was one of the TV shows, something had been like kind of alluded to about the fact that there's a fucking giant hand sticking up out of the ocean.
Yeah.
So it was just like, how the fuck does that happen? And then we haven't heard anything else about that. Whether you liked Eternals or not, like that has to be acknowledged.
Yeah, exactly.
It's finally being acknowledged. That is where they are getting the adamantium from. Is the hand from the Celestial sticking up out of the ocean. So that's cool. They're kind of like tying, kind of closing some loose ends off there from previous phases. General Ross asks Sam Wilson to rebuild the Avengers.
Oh wow!
At one point and we've seen this in the trailer. It says, and what happens if we disagree on how to handle things?
Yeah.
That's coming from Sam back to Ross after he's asked to rebuild the Avengers. So it'll be interesting, definitely, to see that's kind of like the starting point of
how we get to
the next Avengers movies. Yeah, right. So it'll be, you think back to Colonel Fury approaching Iron Man in the post-credit scene of the very first Iron Man movie.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's kind of I kind of feel like we're finally now getting that stepping point to working towards that greater conclusion of a phase.
True.
So that's cool. And then it said that the footage ended showing the Red Hulk in full form behind the presidential podium.
Oh wow.
So we talked about it before. We didn't know who was going to be playing the Red Hulk, whether it was going to be Harrison Ford, whether it's going to be Giancarlo Esposito. Well, we now know for sure, conclusively, it is Thaddeus Ross. So
I think Harrison Ford kind of confirmed that when he came out on stage and he was making the motion.
But that's the info that we got for Brave New World.
Yep. And then
we got Thunderbolts.
Thunderbolts coming out. Thunderbolts asterisk.
Yes.
Asterisk is the title, and the asterisk got to mean
the
something,
asterisk
right?
means something. It does mean something. They They said that live on the panel. They said that it does mean something, but they won't. No one will know what it means until after the movie comes out. So whether we find out during the movie watching it, or whether they then come out as like Marvel comes out after the movie has then premiered and actually explains what the asterisk means.
Do you think it could be just they're going to call themselves the Avengers or the New Avengers, or maybe Thunderbolts is a placeholder name kind of a thing? So
I guess, yeah, I don't know.
Honestly,
I
honestly,
I haven't given a lot of thought to what the asterisk would mean.
Yeah.
Because I'm just along for the ride on this one.
I'm
like, that's one that is, there's so many possible options as to what it could mean that I'm like, I'm not even going to try to dive into it and try to figure it out. There's certain things where I'm like, I'm going to fucking find this out. I'm going to figure out what it is. I'm not going to try to this. I'm just going to let it happen.
Gotcha. Valentina wants power and control and to kick ass in the MCU.
Yeah, that's her whole character. It's kind of arc is, and I feel like they alluded to that in Captain America and the Winter Soldier. Right?
Yeah.
Or Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
I think they kind of alluded to that. That's just kind of, she has some like just backhanded maniacal plans that she's trying to fucking build her way up.
Yeah, and she's kind of like building a team on her. It kind of gave that vibes, like pulling a Nick Fury kind of thing. Yeah, trying to build a team.
It's almost like she has a sort of like Lex Luthor.
Oh yeah,
vibe to her.
Yeah,
where like she's not, she's not super powered in and of herself, but
true.
She's just smart as shit. She's fearless. She's gonna like make shit happen the way she wants shit to go. So
yeah,
and fucking Julia Louis-Dreyfus, she's fucking amazing.
Yeah,
so I'm excited for that. Wyatt Russell said at the panel that everyone was going to fucking love him in this movie. So I don't know what that means, but I thought that was of note because that's like a very, very specific thing to say. So I thought I was like, all right, cool. I'm gonna throw that on here because I think that's I don't know, an interesting point kind of, because I don't think he was anything special in Captain America and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
I was confused as to necessarily like what his whole story arc was going to be, but then at the end of it with him and Valentina, you knew that there was going to be more.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see what that's going to be.
Yeah, true. And lastly, just it has a Suicide Squad vibe to it, and I couldn't agree more. Like it for sure.
Yeah.
It seems like, I mean, this ragtag of people kind of has that vibe to it. So.
Well, and just what part of what that was too was the trailer that was shown at, again, more footage that we haven't seen, but that was shown at Comic-Con was, they said that the trailer itself had a very Suicide Squad feel to it. So just that kind of, I think, down and dirty, gritty action, kind of like fuck shit up type thing.
This MCU's way of saying we can do it better than DC.
Potentially, yeah, probably. But that brings us to the last of the three movies that are coming out in 2025. Probably the most anticipated Marvel movie in a long time.
Very long time.
And that's saying something since Deadpool and Wolverine just dropped last week.
Yeah.
Right? Like, but I still think like this one's probably even more so anticipated, and the reason for that is just because of, like 'em or hate 'em, the failure of the previous iterations of live action versions of the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Right? Because they were comic or commercially, critically failure of movies.
Yeah.
I think the very first one wasn't as hated.
Yeah.
For the time frame, was like 2004 or whatever it was when the first one came out. But Rise of the Silver Surfer was
pretty slammed.
It was shit on pretty well.
Yeah,
and for
pretty good reasons.
For pretty good reasons that we'll talk about here in a second. For probably like the primary reason we'll talk about here in a second. But anyway, so. It was announced officially that the title of the new Fantastic Four movie is Fantastic Four First Steps.
Yeah.
Director Matt Shackman came out on stage. He was asked, like, how are they going to approach the power, attributes, I guess, if you will, of the team. Like, how are they going to actually go about the powers of
And I really liked what he said.
Me too.
He was like, they did research. They did a lot of scientific research, and for like the thing, they went out to the desert and studied rocks to get the perfect rock feel for the thing. And
the direct quote from him was that they want to stay true to the comics, but they want to stay true to real life. Yeah, and I think that's that's super smart to do, because I don't know, that's just like how like everything nowadays is kind of rooted in some form of reality. Yeah. And so the Fantastic Four probably have some of the most unrealistic, to a point, unrealistic powers. Yeah. So for them to try to ground that a little more and root it in like staying true to the comics, but also then rooting it in reality, I think that's super smart. I think that's a really good way for them to do it. They talked about it being a retro-futuristic 60s, which is kind of a mindfuck in a statement of itself, because it's like retro, you're thinking old school 60s, but then it's futuristic at the same time, so you're like, whoa!
But we know this is not in the same timeline as well.
It's not going to be on Earth
616.
Yeah, Earth 616. It's not going to be. It's not in the sacred timeline of the MCU. So that's interesting in and of itself. Again, they showed footage. They showed footage of this. It wasn't a trailer to the movie because they haven't actually started, or at this point they hadn't started shooting. They just started shooting it on Tuesday. Yeah. Which was right after Comic-Con ended. Yeah. But they did have some like pre-viz stuff. They did have some like shorts that they had filmed. Yeah. Which was the Thing was on like a dating TV show, like a dating show. Reed Richards was doing like a science with Reed Richards, like science TV show thing. Yeah. Right, and then the footage ended with probably one of the most promising things, which was Galactus's face turning and looking into the big ass windows of the Baxter building, which is like the headquarters of the Fantastic Four. Yeah. And this was Galactus. Like, this was actually Galactus, like what you picture Galactus as in the comics. Yeah. Big dude. Giant Galactus, and he's a Celestial. Yeah. And so it was, I think one of the biggest, most positive takeaways from all of this was the fact that it's not that Galactus isn't a fucking cloud. Which was the laziness of Rise of the Silver Surfer. Yeah. Like, they didn't know how to portray Galactus correctly, so they just made him a fucking cloud, which was the stupidest thing outside of sewing Deadpool's mouth shut in X-Men Origins. Yes. Like, it was so fucking dumb.
Sorry, Fox, you fucked up.
Yeah, Fox, you really foxed it. So that was cool. It's exciting, just super excited to see that. And have you seen the clip of that?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, so that has leaked, the clip of Galactus actually turning. And I've read comments, like, people are like, he's not even nearly big enough to be Galactus. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, people are going to complain about everything. Like,
but Galactus can change sizes.
Yes, Galactus can. Exactly. Galactus can change sizes. It's also like there's like a perception of Galactus that he is seen, or he shows up through the lens of whoever is seeing him, if that makes sense. Yeah. So it's like humans on Earth see Galactus differently than like aliens do, or like the green people. I thought.
The Skrulls.
The Skrulls. Like, the Skrulls see them differently, so like there's so many options and things they can do. Originally, he was Gallon, which is a normal fucking dude, right? So he was literally the size of a human, like he was a normal sized dude. Yeah. And then he's also, being big ass Galactus. So, a lot of stuff there. Looks like they're pulling a lot of comic vibes. Kirby, Vanessa Kirby, who's playing Sue Storm, talked about the fact that like there's a lot of like positivity and like joy and stuff that the comics have that they are hoping to also be able to bring to the movie as well, which is cool. Just another way they're trying to stay true to the comics. And last but not least, with Fantastic Four, they had an inflatable Fantastic Car come out, which was like, oh sweet, they're gonna fucking have that in the movie.
Yeah.
Like they better. If they tease that, like you better have that actually a part of the actual movie. So
we didn't bring it up, but the Fantastic Car did show up in Deadpool and Wolverine as well. It was one of the vehicles in the
like the Mad Max
sequence.
sequence.
Yeah, the Mad Max sequence. It was one of the vehicles coming at him. So it wasn't the
I
same
did
one
see
that
the
we.
four on the side of it.
Yeah,
now that you're
but
saying that. I do
It's not
remember
the
that.
same one we're
I
going to
didn't
see
even
in
make
this,
that fucking connection.
but yeah, it had it.
That's pretty dope.
But I did also read, before we close out of this, that it's not going to be how they're already going to have their powers.
Yes, yeah. I saw that as well. I saw that like, it's not going to be an origin story. They feel like that's been done now enough that like they don't need to
rehash it.
Yeah, they don't need to rehash it. They don't need to kind of waste the time. They can just jump into a story that they want
like they
to
did with
use the time.
Homecoming with Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly. So at this point, people know, for the most part at least, what the origin stories of a lot of these characters are. So unless you're like fully changing the origin story, then you don't need to hit the origin at this point. So that's awesome. That brings us to some of the biggest announcements at Comic-Con, and that was the fact that first off, the next 2 Avengers movies, the cast from all 3 of these movies that we have just now discussed will be involved in both of those 2 Avengers movies, which was like, all right, sweet, because we never knew, right? Like, we hadn't known anything about the Avengers movies yet. There was a lot of stuff up in the air about Avengers, the Kang Dynasty, being Avengers 5, that was supposed to be the next one. That, obviously, the title got dropped after all the shit with Jonathan Majors.
Yeah.
So it was, like, a lot of up in the air stuff. Well, no longer up in the air. They
announced the names.
Definitely announced the names of them. They announced not the release date, but the release month and year.
Both May.
Yeah, both May
2026 and 2027.
Yes. The Russo brothers are back. We talked about that last episode, that they were in talks. They are officially back to direct both of those Avengers movies, which is super exciting.
I'm super excited about that. Yes.
And they announced that formerly known as Avengers the Kang Dynasty will now be Avengers Doomsday.
Oh.
And they said, with bringing in Victor Von Doom into the MCU, one of, the most potentially important characters in Marvel lore, they gotta have the best possible actor to play Victor Von Doom.
And lo and behold,
nobody saw coming.
I did not see.
I didn't see this coming. Nobody saw this coming. I read so much shit about like theories and fan rumors and stuff that people are putting out there. Like, I never once saw this being an option. And fucking go figure, the MCU did it again. They threw a hell of a curveball at us, because out on stage walked somebody dressed in it. Well, first off, they had a bunch of Doctor Dooms up on stage, but they're all wearing kind of a more foresty green cloak,
like
if
an
you
earthy
will.
green,
Yeah. And then they all kind of part, and then there's one wearing a little bit more of a vibrant green, one that you would actually like looked a little more comic accurate.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh shit, this one's different. And then they walk forward, and he takes the hood off, rips the mask off, and Robert fucking Downey Jr.
Man,
RDJ in the flesh. Robert Downey Jr. back in the MCU after playing Iron Man, Tony Stark, since 2008 for 11 years, dying in Endgame in 2019. He is back to play Victor Von Doom.
Going from the biggest hero to one of the biggest villains.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, what he said, which wasn't a lot, but he said, new mask, same task.
Yep.
So that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So what can I tell you? I like to play complicated characters. Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
I don't know. I'm so excited and confused all at the same time because I'm like, how are they gonna play this? Because it's not gonna be as there. I don't think there's any way it's as simple as Robert Downey Jr. is just back playing a completely new person.
Yeah.
There's going to be some multiversal tie-in here. There are a lot of comic book story arcs that have to do with Tony Stark and Doctor Doom switching places, or things of that nature. I've also read about spoiler alert for Deadpool and Wolverine, but I've also read that because of the introduction of like the anchor beings in Deadpool and Wolverine, that potentially maybe Tony Stark was the Sacred Timelines,
which I was going to ask you about.
Yeah, anchor being, and that maybe like the new Avengers group is going to try to like travel the multiverse to find a Tony Stark that they could bring back to theirs to save theirs, and then maybe that Tony Stark is actually had been like switched spots with Doctor Doom or something like that. Right.
That would be That would be awesome.
Yeah. So or maybe like they find what looks like Tony Stark to them, but that's actually just a Victor Von Doom variant. Something along that line, right? Where they make it make sense that it is Tony's that's Robert Downey Jr. playing this new character now.
Gotcha.
So hopefully, I mean, obviously, like they're obviously going to figure it out. It's the Russo brothers. They're gonna figure out how to make it make sense and how to make it all work. But I also read that the only the only way outside of money that Robert Downey Jr. was going to come back was if it was the Russo brothers directing it. So he played a large role in them coming back as well. So
before we go on, do you? Because I've been reading a lot of complaints. Like there's been a lot of excitement, but a lot of complaints.
It's definitely split. I think.
Do you think him coming back ruins Endgame at all? Are you excited? Are you on that side, or are you upset about it? Or are you?
I'm not upset about it. I think I could be.
Yeah.
If they fumble it.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I think it depends on. I think it's way too early to be able to say, oh, this completely ruins or desecrates what happened in Endgame, because look at fucking Deadpool and Wolverine and Logan.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they did it in a way that allows the new Hugh Jackman Wolverine to be there while not tarnishing Logan's ending, right?
Yeah.
So I think that they can definitely do it. It just needs to be done right. And as long as it's done right, then no, I think it could be fucking awesome. I think it could be totally fine, and they could do it super smart and make it make so much sense that, like, I don't know. I think it's a lot of overreaction.
Yeah, and I think
at this point, at least,
I think you're right. I think we just have to wait to see.
In Feige, we trust.
Yeah.
All right. That's how I'm living my life, because I don't give a fuck what people say. I haven't truly been really disappointed by much of what Marvel's ever put out.
No.
With a couple things here and there that I could have been. I was kind of whatever.
Yeah.
But I still enjoyed it. So I don't know. It's the Russos. It's Kevin Feige. It's RDJ.
I don't think they could go wrong.
I'm fucking excited for it, man.
Yeah.
I'm stoked. So, Avengers Doomsday, official May 2026. They also officialized, I guess, if you will, what we've all kind of known for a while was Avengers 6 is still titled Avengers Secret Wars. That will come out May 2027. So we have a similar Infinity War Endgame situation where it was 1 year apart for a 2-part movie, essentially.
Yeah.
Which is kind of the feeling of what this is going to be.
Yeah.
Where I think they have a little bit of leeway, though, with it, where like Endgame was originally titled Infinity War Part 2.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
so like
exactly.
it was Infinity War Part 1, Infinity War Part 2 because it was actually a 2-part movie, and then they changed the name of the second one. So like where like this one, they are separate movies, but it's going to be like one overarching continued story, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah. But they talked about how Secret Wars is the biggest story that Marvel Comics has ever told, and Joe Russo actually explicitly stated that it was the first comic story he read as a kid that got him into comic books.
Oh, nice.
Which kind of then brings me to, I'm like, does that mean that they're pulling from the 1984 Secret Wars comic run as their source material for this, or are they gonna pull from the 2015 return of Secret Wars, or are they gonna combine them and pull from both?
I was gonna say they probably take a little bit of both.
Yeah. So I mean, you know, their prerogative. They're gonna probably take the best options to make it the best that they can. But that wraps up our Marvel Comic-Con information and news. A whole lot of shit came at us, and I couldn't be any more fucking excited for the future of the MCU right now.
I know, right? I agree. I was just like, holy crap, what a panel. Like, they didn't have one the previous time. So it was just like exciting to get all that news all at once and have some timeline built in.
Yeah, and we had, speaking of timeline, we had texted a little bit about like partial disappointment that we didn't get like a full scale schedule release, you know. Yeah. Like we've gotten in previous ones, but then like you said, you sent back like maybe they learned their lesson from the last time because
don't get ahead of themselves.
Yeah, don't get ahead of themselves, especially now because I said to you that like their character roster is ever expanding now in live action form, where before when they were doing those releases it was kind of a more tight knit group. True. Yeah. It was like the core Avengers and the Guardians of the Galaxy. Pretty much. Ant-Man. Yeah, Ant-Man. Yeah. But there was like to your point, a couple one-offs, but they were all in. It was smaller. It was a smaller scale. Now, like they have so many more characters, which unfortunately means you have a lot more personal lives that you're also having to deal with. Yeah. Right. So, like in the case of Jonathan Majors with Kang. Shit happened in his personal life. It was unfortunate. Got him canned from the role. Yeah. So they had to make some changes.
Do you think they just totally drop it? Do you think they address it somehow? Do they use that as a storyline down the road? What do you think?
I think Jonathan Majors comes back as Kang at some point.
I'm here for it.
That's what I think. Jonathan Majors has actually gone on record saying that if Marvel was down, hell yeah, he would be down to come back because he loves the character of Kang. Yeah, he loves that character. I think it would be completely understandable that they give a couple years between when all that shit happened and then bringing him back. I think they could get away with it, and I think they should be able to. I think they should be allowed to. Yeah. I mean, you look at, like, if you really want to fucking nitpick people's personal lives, like, Robert Downey Jr. had a fucking tumultuous, like, fucking just a pretty bad fucking history of drug charges and shit, right? Like, he was not the best upstanding citizen previously. Yeah. And then they cast him as Iron Man and look what happened, right? Yeah. Like, one of the greatest actors in the world now. Yeah. So I don't know. Like at some point, like there's got to be forgiveness and understanding, and you can't just be blackballed from the industry forever. We'll move on. So San Diego Comic-Con. Next thing that we had, Dexter. All right. I fucking love Dexter. I love the original, the original eight run season of the show. It was fucking awesome. I just finished watching the other day the 2021 miniseries sequel, Dexter New Blood. And so kind of talk about that a little bit. Yeah. without giving anything away because I know you haven't watched it yet.
I'm like in season 5.
What they did was they announced Dexter Original Sin, which is a prequel to the original series. Oh. It follows a young Dexter, high school age Dexter. Okay. So new cast, everything. However, Michael C. Hall is the inner dialogue of young Dexter.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so it's new cast of people, new story, kind of showing the time frame of when he started to get his dark tendencies. Yeah. And when the dad started to kind of teach him the code that he follows in the show. Right. So, but it'll be Michael C. Hall as the inner dialogue talking to himself. Which is awesome because then that's the original Dexter still involved. So that one was actually already known. That wasn't necessarily like an announcement that was like surprising. It was out there already that this show was happening. Yeah. It comes out in December of this year, and it is a prequel to the original. Now, while they were at that panel, the kind of bombshell surprise announcement was that they are also starting in January of 2025. So right after Original Sin debuts, they are starting to shoot a sequel series called Dexter Resurrection with Michael C. Hall returning as Dexter once again. Oh. And this will be a direct follow-up sequel to the events of Dexter New Blood, which was a sequel to the original show. So, those of you that don't know, the original show ran for 8 seasons. I don't remember what year it was, like 2013 or something maybe when the final season happened. 2021, they put out a new sequel series with Michael C. Hall back as Dexter, following him now removed from Florida. He's up in upstate New York. Okay. Working, new scenery. He's working in a new. He's working in a like a sporting goods hunting store type thing, under a new alias.
Okay.
Okay. So that's all I'll say about that. But that show ends. That show ends because it's a mini series. It's just 10 episodes, 8 episodes, maybe 10 episodes. I think it was 10. And it ends in a very similar vein to how the original show ended, in a sense.
Okay.
Again, that's all I'll say because I don't want to give. I don't want to spoil nothing for you. I don't want to spoil nothing for anybody. So yeah. Very exciting to know that they're going to be filming another series, even if it's just one more season, and Resurrection's the end. I don't know, but I am here for the continuance of Dexter. I love it. I love him. I love the idea of the show in general is so fucking awesome. So,
well, I got some homework to do. I need to catch up.
Yeah, I know.
So I'm gonna restart it from the beginning because it's been a long time since I watched it, but thoroughly enjoyed what I was seeing, and luckily over time have not been spoiled by anything that's happened. So it'll be fresh to me. So excited because I liked what I saw, and with how excited you are, I think it's perfect.
Yeah, I'm also going to be rewatching the original. I'll be rewatching all of it, the original 8 seasons through Dexter New Blood again, because my wife was watching parts of New Blood with me, and she got into it.
Okay.
Like, she texted me the other day. Yesterday, I told her, I was like, yeah, I'm watching the final episode. She's like, oh, I was actually like getting into it this morning, and I was like. We gotta watch this show from the start, babe. It's a good one too because it's 9 seasons now essentially that you have to be able to watch. That's the type of shit I'm talking about. Like, I love when there's shows that you can watch, especially like for the first time, right? And for me to be able to like watch that with Lindsay and watch her experience that for the first time and me relive it, it'll be fucking awesome. I'm excited for it.
So, where can viewers and listeners watch that?
I need to do a little more research on that. I don't know if it is streaming
it Showtime
It is
still?
So it is Showtime.
Okay.
I don't know if it is streaming anywhere else.
Gotcha.
So if you have Paramount Plus with the Showtime add-on, that's where I've seen it.
Gotcha.
I bought the season of Dexter New Blood on Amazon.
Okay.
It was like $25, but it was on sale for like $6. I was like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'm gonna buy that. So I bought it just so I could watch it because I really wanted to.
Perfect.
It is on, at least New Blood's on Amazon. I don't know if the original show's on Amazon to be able to buy or rent or whatever. But if you have the Showtime add-on on Paramount Plus, you could stream all of it.
Awesome. And I think I did see it on Netflix as well. Not New Blood, but at least the original.
Dexter. Okay,
so Netflix, I believe, has it as well. So
yeah,
cool.
Awesome.
Which brings us to our Blockbusters question of the week.
Heck yes. So this one you had posed originally, where we kind of had a little bit of discussion back and forth to try to just pinpoint like what we were really trying to get out of the question, because the original question, like I said, it was a little vague. I think it was almost a little too broad. Yeah. Where I thought that we would just kind of ramble, and I wanted us to be able to like have a little bit more like concise answers and then discussion.
Hone it in. Yeah.
So what we did was we took the question, we broke it down into essentially 5 different categories that we're then going to answer back and forth.
Perfect.
So the question in and of itself is, what movie left you feeling the most ... And then we have 5 different categories. We have left you feeling the most emotional, left you feeling the most scared, left you laughing your ass off, left you feeling mind fucked, and left you feeling like you just needed more of it.
So you got 5 in mind?
Oh yeah, I got them.
All right.
So we're gonna start with emotional. What movie left you feeling the most emotional?
I had a couple, but I'm gonna stick to one. Pursuit of Happiness with Will Smith.
Yeah,
that movie was a roller coaster of emotions. Sad, happy. That one left me pretty emotional after it. Pursuit of Happiness.
That's a great movie.
It was a really good movie, and that it is emotional.
Yeah. Mine is A Man Called Otto.
Okay.
Have you ever seen that?
I haven't seen it. I know Tom Hanks is in it.
Yes.
It's based off a book, correct?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Dude. I was crying.
Yeah.
Watching, like, straight up. Like, watching this movie, I was just like, holy shit. It is so good, though.
Yeah.
My wife is notorious for falling asleep during movies and shows, or just she has a harder time sitting for that long. Like she can watch like an episode of something.
Yeah.
But like watching a movie is sometimes difficult just because she just like wants to get up and go clean something, or she wants to like be doing something.
Yeah.
Where like I can fucking sit there for 7 straight hours just binge watching shit.
Same.
She doesn't have that. I don't know that she touched her phone during this fucking
Really?
Like it was like gripping. It was, there were funny parts. It was just good. It was a really good movie. It was probably my favorite Tom Hanks film.
Okay. That's saying something.
Yeah, he has a lot of good fucking movies. But dude, it's so worth the watch. But definitely be prepared because if you don't get emotional from this movie,
there's something wrong with
you need therapy.
Well, me and Haley had our eyes on that movie, so we'll definitely give it a check out.
Super good. It's on Netflix, I believe, still. So
okay, all right.
Yeah, really good movie. Next one. What movie left you feeling the most scared?
All right. The Strangers.
Okay.
Strangers back in, I believe, 2008. That movie gave me. I think that's what gave me anxiety in life, and just that movie had me on the edge of my seat the whole movie, and just with how realistic I think it was based off some true events, and just being in the middle of nowhere and home invasion scared the shit out of me, and watched it again on my Halloween movie nights that I did last year, and still gets me. So.
Yeah.
Strangers.
That movie, I love that movie, and I have a funny original, like, kind of a real quick funny story of the first time I ever watched it. So yes, it came out. It came out like, I want to say like earlier 2008.
Yeah, I think
Maybe
so.
the
Yeah,
mid-
I think it was like February.
Yeah, because it was out on DVD during homecoming of that year, because that was my freshman year of high school. And we, like, my whole group that I was doing homecoming with, we all met out at our friend's house, and we just did like a movie night there type thing after the dance.
Yeah.
So like, we went to the dance and we went back to my friend Krista's house, and we all watched The Strangers.
Oh God.
And it was funny because I'm a fucked up person, you know this. It's just me and my brothers. It's who we are. In a good way. But so even at that point, I'm a freshman in high school. We're watching this movie. Everyone is like on the couches. You know, it was like they had like a projector screen, right? And then they just had like a horseshoe of like sitting area, and then it was just like an open floor in the middle.
Yeah.
Everybody, I'm talking, it's probably like 12 to 16 people are up on the couches, all like huddled together, like cuddling each other because the show's so fucking freaky.
Yeah.
I'm laying on the ground in the middle by myself, laughing throughout the majority of this movie. Because I'm just like, oh my fucking God, this is awesome. And they're all looking at me like, what is wrong with you?
With you?
I don't know. There were certain parts where I was just like, there's one specific scene in that movie where I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? And it's the shotgun scene when he kills his buddy. Because I'm like, what are you fucking doing?
Yeah.
Like, why are you not? You're not saying a single thing.
I know. I had the same feeling.
Like, you're walking through this house like.
Just no words said.
No words at all. And then the other guy, which that one is a little bit more understandable just because, like, the situation you're in.
Yeah.
You're not expecting to see your best friend walk around the corner. But at the same time, like, none of the people had guns that were after you.
Yeah.
You could take a split second before you pull the trigger.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Anyways, so that's my funny story. I was just like laughing, and I was like, what the fuck's wrong with you? Mine is The Conjuring.
Oh, that's a good one.
I want to say it came out like fucking 2014-ish, somewhere in there. I'm pretty sure I was in college when I was either in high school. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But that one was... That's one of I don't scare too easily.
Yeah.
There are paranormal movies, not like Paranormal Activity, but like there are more movies about paranormal stuff that have, and The Conjuring is those, right? But like those movies tend to get me a little bit more on edge.
Yeah.
But The Conjuring itself was it was so good.
It really
was. It was just so well done. And the fucking scene, I'll never forget it, of the lady when they were, like, towards the end, when she was, like, the priest, like, grabs her head through, like, the floorboards of the wall and stuff.
Yeah.
And then she starts, like, fucking tweaking, and it's going back and forth between, like, demon, her, and the regular mom. That freaked me out so much. Like, I was just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, I love that entire franchise. I love all of the movies that have to do with it. The Abigail, that whole world universe that James Wan has created. I love all of them. So, but yeah, that very first one I saw it in theaters, and that was one where I remember like gripping the seat and like jump scare, like legit, like holy fucking shit, and then my heart's just pounding.
That's a good.
I remember it.
I love those kind of movies. So yeah, definitely good.
Next one, movie that left you feeling the most. I just put like the movie that made you laugh your ass off the most.
I chose The Hangover.
Okay.
From start to beginning, it was hilarious. the banter between them all, the situations they got themselves into, up until the credits when they're going through the camera footage.
Oh my God,
like
yeah.
the whole movie was hilarious.
Yes, it was.
That's what I went with. To this day, I still laugh.
So many quotable moments too, and just references and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you?
21 Jump Street.
Oh, that's a good
Yeah,
one.
I saw that one in theaters. That one came out my senior year of high school. Saw it with a group of people, and that one, same thing. Like, just from fucking the opening scene of Jonah Hill dressed up as fucking Eminem, essentially.
Yeah.
Slim Shady, with the real Slim Shady playing.
So good.
And then fucking Channing Tatum's just douchebag of a jock character, dumb jock, like it's fucking great, all the way up to the fucking Johnny Depp reveal.
Yeah.
The fucking you bought me Taco Bell. Dave Franco, like just the cast is amazing.
Yes.
Captain Marvel herself, Brie Larson's in it.
True.
It's just good, man. It was just such a good movie and just funny from start to finish, just like The Hangover. Like,
Yeah.
But that was the one where I'm like, I that might have been one of my like hardest laughing in theater moments.
Yeah.
What was that for me?
Nice.
Next one, we got what movie left you feeling the most mind fucked?
I think I'm gonna surprise you. Maybe surprise you on this one, but Uncut Gems with Adam Sandler.
Okay.
It was
a little bit of a surprise.
It was. I don't know. It just. I never felt more stressed in my life than watching that movie. Like, that was another movie to just give me anxiety the whole way through.
Yeah.
Up until the ending, and I'm just like, what the fuck did I just watch? What the hell? Yeah. Wow. That left me mind fucked for sure.
Movie too, yeah.
It was.
Awesome.
It's definitely a hard watch, and I don't know how many times I can watch, but it was good, and
I mean, fuck, Adam Sandler was like getting Oscar talk. I don't think he actually got nominated for it, but there was like talks about like potential Oscar potential for that movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mine is actually one we saw together in theaters.
Okay.
Tenet.
Oh, yeah.
Christopher Nolan's Tenet.
That was
during COVID.
Yeah.
You and me, it was during like the fall when COVID kind of stopped for a month and then it picked back up.
Yeah.
And it was during that month some theaters reopened and we drove down to Lacey to see this movie.
That movie is a trip.
And I still, to this day, this is 4 fucking years later, I don't understand what happened in the fucking movie. That is one of the only movies I've ever watched before where, like, today, I don't understand what I fucking saw.
Yeah.
But it was so good.
It really was.
And that was the entire car ride home. We were just like, what the fuck just happened? What did we see? It's so confusing and so good and gripping and just like gets you invested in it, but you also are like completely outside of it because you don't understand what the fuck's happening. It was crazy.
That is a good one. That was
a
really good one.
And had I never seen that movie, it probably would have been Inception before that. Chris Nolan is real good at mind fucks.
Yeah.
Like
that almost made the list of what I was gonna say.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's good. And then we got the last one for us to hit here, which is what movie left you feeling the need that you just needed more of it?
And I went with Avengers Infinity War. Because how it ended. Ended with the snap, and that's how the movie concluded. I needed more after that. I needed to know what happened, and
had to wait a year.
Yeah, had to wait a year with a couple movies released in between. Yeah. But I needed to know more, so Avengers Infinity War.
Mine's in a very similar vein. Deathly Hallows Part 1, Harry Potter.
I thought you were going to go that route.
Yeah. And it was, again, like I said, I saw all the Harry Potter movies in theaters with my mom.
So Deathly Hallows Part 1, and this was me having not read the books fully through, so I didn't know what was going to happen. Like, I didn't know the story yet. I was getting the story from the movies, because I'm just a cinematic, I'm a cinematic.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge reader. I have since read the books, they're fucking awesome. But the way Deathly Hallows Part 1 ended, with Voldemort getting the Elder Wand out of the Dumbledore's tombstone or grave, and then him hitting the Avada Kedavra up into the sky, and that's how the fucking movie ended. And you're just like, that one I remember, like, both me and my mom walking out of the theater like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And that one was, if I remember correctly, it was, they hadn't filmed, like, they didn't film like they did in Avengers. They didn't film them back to back to put out a year after. Like, we still had to wait, like, full production, filming, post-production time, and then release. Yeah. To get Part 2, if I remember correctly. I was young. I mean, it was, I think Part 2 came out in 2011. I was a junior in high school. Yeah. I want to say that that Part 1 came out, like, my freshman year, maybe. Okay. So, like, you had to wait to get the answers that you so desperately wanted. Yeah. So
that was good choices.
Yeah, those are solid. Good movies all around. If we said any that you haven't seen, definitely go check them out. You'll totally understand what we're talking about. The number one that was probably, I would argue, probably the number one that most people probably haven't seen would probably be A Man Called Otto, out of all the things we said.
That was
with the next
recent,
up probably being Uncut Gems.
Yeah.
Just because they're both Netflix movies. I think A Man Called Otto is Netflix.
I saw Uncut Gems in the theater.
Yes, yeah. Uncut Gems had a theatrical release, but it was a Netflix movie.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. It was part of the Netflix deal that Adam Sandler.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So yeah. Anyways, great movies all around.
Yeah.
Fucking episode 9
in the bag.
In the bag, man.
We got SummerSlam tomorrow, so make sure you're watching that. And we've got a lot to talk about coming on episode 10. Then.
Yep.
All right, man, brother. Cheers.
Cheers.
Here we go.
Hell yeah.